Welcome back to another Dynodaze video. This FN2 today has had a Piper manifold and sports cap fitted, mated up to his NVIDIA exhaust. It's got some form of custom induction kit, but we're going to map it on Ecutek software, so going to flash the stock ECU that allows us to data log and start tuning. So let's do a power run and get going. Take three. FN2. Yeah, we say take three because it takes us a few to get the giggles out and stop swearing and things like that. So anyway, FN2 in the house, and today it's had a Piper manifold and sports cap fitted, which the customers purchased from us. Wants to stay legal, which is absolutely fine. So we tune accordingly to that. It's been mated to an NVIDIA 200 exhaust system. I've not really come across those too often. Yeah, the quality looked okay, but again, 2¼ inch tailpipes, which doesn't matter how big the bore is in the middle. If you've only got a 2½ inch tailpipes, you've only got 2¼ inch exhaust. Yeah, Rich has told you so many times that you need 3 inches, don't you?
Well, like we always say, we talk about it, I suppose maybe sound like a broken record if you watch a lot of videos, but the TypeR 70mm is still great. Is the best value for money, and does the job for most people's setups. But once you really want to push on these cars, 3 inch exhaust where it's at. When we fitted a 3 inch exhaust on the video that was prior to this one, and you can see the difference in the flow. You know, when you're on the dyno and thing, it responds much better, much more power after the VTEC changeover, much more power, made more power across the whole graph. I mean, admittedly, we did run this car stock map, but with the mods on, and then obviously we've tuned accordingly. But the difference that you can see here is when you don't see a staggering amount of difference between the modified run and, you know, the mapped run, it's because something's at its flow limit already. The exhaust was already at its flow limit prior and was obviously making reasonable power. Then we've mapped and we haven't really made any power, and the reason for that is because the exhaust was already maxed out already. So once the exhaust is maxed out, no amount of anything that you do is gonna change it. Yeah, you can't change flow. So the exhaust has reached capacity. You can basically see as it comes on VTEC, we start to make power and then it dulls off and then it slightly comes back, and then we've managed to hold level with the rest of it. We made a little bit on peak, but that's because we're revving it out further. The reason for that is obviously VTEC is brought in lower, the exhaust fills up, the exhaust is full at that point, and there's nothing we can do to counteract that all the way through the rev range then. Honestly, the best thing for this car would be fit a TypeR 70mm or fit a Miltech 3-inch or the Dynodaze 3-inch or a 3-inch exhaust, and it would absolutely, it may not necessarily unlock a massive amount of peak power. You may only say make 225, for example, from 222, which is where we are now.
Yeah, but you're not winning races at 8,600 RPM.
No, you're not. What I'm talking about is all the power will be made in the mid-range. Instead of making 20 brake, dropping back to 10, then making like 15, and then making nothing from 6,000 onwards, you'd have power all in that curve low down. You may not necessarily make a lot peak, but that mid-range would be massively different.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe, you know, maybe we'll see the customer again for a bigger exhaust. We just don't know what his realms of possibilities are.
At the end of the day, most people, he might have spent quite a bit of money on the exhaust. He wants to stay legal. He likes the sound of it, and then that's it. The exhaust's not getting changed. I'm not saying that there's a problem with this exhaust. What I'm talking about is, if we know that if it had a different exhaust, it could do better.
We know that, but for the purposes of YouTube and what we're putting out there, people want to know how to get more power from the same setup, and what we should change out. And that's the advice. That is the advice that we give. And like I say, advice is free. Yeah, you can take that or you leave it. You can come down here on a Saturday and you can speak to us about Hondas all day long if you want, until 12, all day long if you want to. And we'll give you free advice, and that is it. Now this car has got a bit of a homebrew induction kit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, made out of stainless steel.
But not necessarily a problem. It looks decent bore and everything, don't it?
It's got a bore size, so that's why we think it's probably the exhaust system. But this car's going to drive fantastic. It's got the switchable maps, the flat foot shifter, auto blip down throttle, adjustable launch control, because it is a GT spec model. So I think he's going to have a lot of fun. So
it's also number 100,035.
It's not 100,035. There's not 100,035 of these.
Well, it's not 10,000, is it?
I bet there is 100,000. How many FN2s are there?
Yeah, there's a question for people. How many FN2s were actually made in total?
In total,
and during their run time? Because this
assuming that the Champ Whites and the Mugans followed their own numbers.
They did follow their own numbers.
How many non-Mugan, non-Champ Whites FN2s are there? Comments below. There's a hat.
That is 100,000, isn't it?
There's a hat to be won.
That's 100,000.
Well, I haven't got my glasses on, so all I can see is your chubby finger.
Yeah, it's 100,000. Yeah,
maybe there is. Someone will know. Comment down below. First person to get the exact answer wins a Dynodaze hat. Right, let's crack on. Shall we look at the graph?
Let's look at the graph.
Let's look at the graph. Well, red line is as she came in, blue line is as she leaves. Some restriction there, as we explained in the video. But we've made power in the mid-range. Obviously, it's got its switchable maps on there and stuff, so it's going to be a lot more fun to drive. It has made wheel horsepower as an average across the rev range. We've extended it out to 8.6, lowered VTEC somewhat, and that's where we've made some torque. But we finish on 222, which is 184 at the wheels. So there we go. Thanks for getting to the end of the video, guys. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. And I think we'll see this customer again for some more mods. Possibly an exhaust, as Richard said, but we'll get to that. So we'll see you all in the next one, won't we, Rich?
Indeed.
Thanks, mate.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.